Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GDDV 106 Development Concepts. My name is Kasanas. All right, guys, we are going to continue on today with the idea of communication between objects. We're doing really well as far as the week is concerned. We are moving on to the idea of asset development, and all of this right now is kind of prelim stuff. You can kind of decide which of these methods you'd like to use in order to create your particular asset. Today, we are going to take a look at the idea of SendMessage. All right, let's get started. Okay, so SendMessage. In all honesty, I prefer to use the get component option, have a direct reference. I know the hierarchy's in place, but that's one of the disadvantages, I guess, or the advantages of send messages. You don't have to understand the hierarchy. You don't have to understand really what you're looking for, other than the particular function that you wish to call. So in that way, it does more things for you if you're unsure of the structure in which you're working within. It's not as optimized. I mean, it's much faster to have a direct reference and call a function directly, but the send message is an absolute option that's available. In fact, I know a lot of people prefer to use send message. I just don't. But anyway, I'm going to teach it to you guys, and you guys can decide what it is you'd like to do. So, send message, again, is allowing communication across different objects or within the same object. It depends on how you're using it. Send message upwards, and broadcast message. Send message will look for a function within the particular game object, and it will operate that particular function. Send message upwards will look for a particular function within the object or its parents, and then operate that particular function. And lastly, broadcast message will look for a particular function on the object or any of its children, and then operate that particular function. So that is the purpose of it, and you really don't have to have as much information as you do with the get component. In fact, all you really need to understand is the function that you are looking for. So the send message will take the following format: game object, or if you're not calling on a particular game object, you're just calling it locally, then you can obviously leave that out. So game object.sendMessage, and then within the brackets, we're going to find the parameters are string. String is the function name. It has to be included within quotations, so you're going to have quotations around it. Afterwards, you have a couple of optional parameters. First of all, the value parameter is going to be the value or the parameter list that you've got associated with the particular function you're calling. And the last one is required, the required receiver. And if you've got this option turned on, if the send message does not operate fully, meaning it can't find the function it's searching for, it is going to return an error message for you. So there's some error checking that actually occurs within there as well. Okay, so what happens when we utilize send message? Well, basically what occurs is send message or broadcast message or send message upwards, in any case. Basically what happens is it goes through and it looks for the particular named function across any of the objects, or across any of the scripts, across any of the scripts in the object itself, or all of the scripts within the object and its parents, or all of the scripts within the object and the children. So you can see that this can lead to a lot of overhead when you're searching for something. If you don't know precisely where it is you're searching for it, there's a lot of extra overhead there as it goes through all of the scripts, especially if you have a large number of scripts located within any given game object. The great thing about it, as I've already mentioned, is it's not necessary to know the precise location of the function, right? You just literally, it's like shouting in a room, like, hey, anybody out there know how to do this? That's basically what you're doing. You're shouting into a room and someone answers you back, right? So you don't have to know the structure in any way. As long as you know the name of the function and the parameters required, you're in pretty darn good shape. Send message will not work on any game objects that are not enabled, or any of the children that are not enabled, or anything like that. Anything that's not enabled, obviously, it's not going to find that. And lastly, again, with the required receiver option, it's going to throw an error if the receiver function is not identified. If it's not found, we're going to get an error back saying we haven't found this particular function that you're looking for. Okay. So in its absolute simplest form, send message string, where string refers to a particular function. It's got to be located within quotations, as I've already mentioned. That will go through and find it on a particular game object, searching all of the scripts. Broadcast message string, again in quotations, will call the particular function wherever it's located within any of the objects or the child objects of the particular object it's being called upon. And it will call all of the functions. If you have multiple functions of the same name that spread across the object and many of its children, it will call each and every one of those functions. And we'll take a look at that in 1 second. Send message upwards, exactly as I've already described. Send message upwards string looks for a particular function with a name string, and it will call all of the functions in all of the scripts with the function name string. Okay, that's exactly how it works. Now, from an optimization point of view, get component and the direct call to the particular function is obviously far more optimized and faster than send message. Send message does other things for us, right? It allows us to call multiple functions of the same name across various objects, whereas get component will find a singular component on a singular object, or I guess if we're using get components, it won't, but it allows us to have a direct reference. It looks for a very specific component and calls that specific function directly. And like I've already mentioned, send message is basically like shouting into a room. It will have everyone operate depending on what you're looking for, right? Based on a string comparison. If your string is the same name as the function, the function is the same name as the string that we're calling, then it will call that particular function. All right. So rather than continue to babble about it, let's go take a look at the use of send message. All right, guys, here we are back inside of our favorite project, Dev Concepts, and we're currently still working with the Week 7 scene. Let's take a look at what I've added to it. Not a whole lot. I've got myself an object here. I've got myself the send message object. Below that, as a child, I've got myself message object base, and below that, I have message object child. Each one of these has at least one script on it. Let's take a look at the scripts. I've got on the child receiver script. On the parent, I have the parent receiver script. And lastly, on this object based, I have two scripts, the local receiver script, as well as the message sender script. Let's go take a look at what these are. I'll just double click here and take a look. So this is my message sender script. Child receiver script has a local message. I've got a function called local message, and it prints out, hello world, I am a child receiver. In the parent receiver, I have something called a local message, a function called local message. It's public. Print, hello world, I am a parent receiver. And lastly, in the local receiver, I have a function called local message. And again, it's saying, print, hello world, I am a local receiver. Back in our message script, this is kind of the meat of what we're doing here. Inside of the start function, what I'm having happen is I'm simply printing out what I'm doing, so print send message upwards, and print broadcast message. In each case, all I'm doing is I'm accessing that particular functionality. Send message, it's looking for local message. This is going to find the function called local message on the game object itself. Next, we've got ourselves send message upwards, and again, I'm looking for local message. Now remember, guys, I've got a function called local message in each of those scripts. And therefore, it should print out the print statement for the local or for the particular game object, as well as any of the local message print for the parent objects as well. And lastly, broadcast message. Again, I'm searching for local message, and guess what? It's looking at the game object and any of the child objects as well. We should see multiple print statements for both the send upwards and the broadcast message. That's what we should see. All right, let's head back into Unity and give her a run. So right now, I've got a clear console. I'm going to hit play, and let's see what we get happening. There we go. We've got ourselves send message. So I'm only receiving hello world, I am a local receiver. Afterwards, here's our print statement. So we've moved on to the send message upwards. Hello world, I am a local receiver. So it's printing that first. And then hello world, I am a parent receiver. So it's going to search the object first and operate any of the functions there. And then lastly, it's going to go through the parent, and it's going to go through all the parent scripts and find any of it there as well. So I'm getting both those printing out. And lastly, broadcast message. Guess what? Local receiver first. Hello world, I am the local receiver. And then our child receiver afterwards. Hello world, I am a child receiver. Okay, super simple stuff, allows us to access functions without knowing the hierarchy in any way. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. It's actually pretty interesting stuff. Like I said, for optimization purposes, if you know the structure of what you're looking for, I prefer to use get component and a direct reference. However, obviously the send message options do offer a lot of different stuff. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know with a thumbs up. Otherwise, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. I really do hope you guys are learning a lot and you are enjoying these videos. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.